Hey there, everybody. It's Michelle. How y'all doing? Woo! Yes, indeed. It's cold outside. I've got to run some errands, get ready for Thanksgiving. And so I am trying to make sure that I stay warm. So, um, today I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about getting ready for the holiday season. And so I want to kind of have like a little chat about how do people scam and some things that are going on out there in these streets. Excuse me. Because it's not that people are getting any more savvy. It's just that we, as the possible pawns, are getting more lax. And we're not doing what we need to do to stay on top of things. And so we kind of make it easy for folks. So, if you will, permit me, I'm going to just talk to you guys a little bit about that today. And leave me comments. Let me know if you're out there. Drop me either a thumbs up, or you can even drop me some emojis. Let me know you're there. And yeah, that would be great. So, anyway, let's get into this, y'all. So, I did cover this in my podcast today, but I want to talk a little bit more about the whole ideas of scams and some of the ways that you can kind of figure out what's going on before, it happens. Because what I'm finding is that people are changing up the particular scams so quickly that we can't keep up with them. And so there are some underlying things that tend to remain the same. Okay. And that is that what they try to do is they try to appeal to your ego. Yeah. And when they try to appeal to your ego, either they try to stroke it or they try to engage you to play the victor, the savior, the rescuer. They either come as a damsel in distress or they come as a person seeking help in their altruistic endeavors and that kind of stuff. And so it's really it's basic, it's common sense, but yet and still it's what people do. So, on how to peep these scams, let's get into it. Because just the other day, I had someone trying to scam me, and I'm gonna go on and say it. Only reason why I'm able to tell y'all this stuff is because, yes, I done got in the past, but becoming a student of psychology, a student of thinking for myself, and worshiping at the feet of wisdom and trying to get wisdom. Like Cornel West says, let your phone be smart, but you be wise. You start to see patterns, layers, loopholes that people try to get through, and it starts to be like, oh, okay. So, like I said before, first and foremost, let's take care of our egos. And there is a way for you to, quote unquote, take care of your ego. One of the fastest ways I can tell you to explore areas that you need to be taking care of your ego is to develop a habit of just making notes to yourself. A lot of times we call it journaling, but people get turned off by the whole journaling thing. So you don't have to journal. No, get you some loose paper if you want to. And before, I like to tell you, if you can, like right before you go to bed, that's the most optimal time. Brain dump the stuff that's on your mind. Sometimes people start with making a list and those kind of things, but sometimes people just write in longhand. This is what's on my mind. I need to take care of this. I don't want to take care of this. And they can have quite a robust list of things. Not only does it free your subconscious to do a lot of healing work when you're sleeping, you also start addressing that side of you that needs that attention, that needs that reassurance that you're okay, that you are loved, that you are appreciated, respected. I mean, a lot of people grew up in the age of learning how to make affirmations. And one of the famous ones that still is around today is, I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. Now, if that is not ego affirmation, I don't know what is. And it's important. Seriously, y'all. If you can't, if you don't take anything else from this, and if you stop watching after this, just leave with this. Take care of those things that you need. It's nobody else's job or ability even to do that. Because if you don't, scammers will see it, and that is what they will play on. It is not about running some kind of con that you have to be very savvy to know. No, it's really about what makes you a mark for them to come after you. And even if they're not doing it in person, there are certain ways that scammers can write something in an email or sales page or whatever it is, where it is written to appeal to your ego. Case in point, the other day, I got something from someone that was like, oh, we would love to feature you and all of this and that, and it will give you great exposure. And all we, maybe repost some of your social media things. And I was like, go for it. Because I was like, okay, this is probably a scam. Let's see. And the reason why it was a scam, because it was very effusive with all of the praise about how great I am. And I'm like, you don't even know me. And then there was no return favor. It wasn't one like, we want to feature you and maybe we could, do some kind of mutual cross promotion. It wasn't any of that. It was just, we want to do you this favor and we want to expose you to our platform. And it's like, okay. And what do you want from me? And the reason why I was looking at them with a salty fish eye, is because there is nothing in life for free. And there should be, I don't even want to use the word quid pro quo, but it should be. Because if not, then there is no exchange of energetic value. And thus, you're now indebted to someone. And it is the person who does not realize and get it through not only their head, but their emotions, that baby, there's nothing free in life. That's when you get got. So, like I said before, I'm going to just give you a few of these things. It's not, I'm not able to tell you all of it, but in these few minutes that I got, because like I said, I got an appointment and I got to go get ready for the holiday time. I got to go get some things to cook. Make sure, if nothing else, you take care of satisfying your own ego. Even if you use that standard affirmation of I am enough, I have enough, I do enough, you'll be amazed that when people start coming to you and trying to, puff smoke up under your clothes, that you'll be like, I see what you're doing. And so one of the ways to find out if this unsolicited ego tripping or charming is happening is if they come to you with all of this charm and all of this with they want to do you a favor with nothing in return. They're setting you up to take the bait. They're hoping that once they get you hooked, then they can then come in and be like, well, we did this for you, so now you got to do something for us. And what they want you to do for them is way more than what they're offering to do for you up front. It's kind of like the sample, where people give you a sample, taste of something, and then you like it, so you go and you buy. Now that's called reciprocity, and that's one of the 6 universal principles of persuasion by Dr. Robert Cialdini. And you can look up his book called Influence, and it's in there, or you can just Google it, okay? But we're not talking about just simple reciprocity. We are talking about okie doke, shiesty reciprocity. Let us do you a favor. And then when they get you hooked, then they either do something like, okay, well, we posted this and they'll send you a bill, or they'll be like, okay, so we, did this little favor, but to get the rest of it, where they'll set it up where it doesn't work unless you get the rest of it, and that cost. So they've hooked you and now they've got you. And I mean, you can just say, no, I'm not interested or whatever. But a lot of times people be like, I can't believe this, because they will have taken them at face value, let them appeal to their ego, and then fell for a hook, line, and sinker. And that happens not just during the holiday season. That happens all the time. Well, then let's talk about on the flip side of this. My hat keeps sliding up. My head is cold. Whew. Okay. Anyway, on the flip side of this, they ask you for a favor. Now, y'all, Believe it or not, there was this test that was done in the late 1900s. Look at me talking about late 1900s, but like in the 90s. And this lady, it was the Xerox test. And what she did to find out how you can quickly gain rapport with people, she did different versions of this test of asking people if she could cut in line. Well, not her. She was the researcher observing. But the gist of it was this: when everything was said and done, she learned that more people would be willing to give you something or to allow you to cut in front of them as a stranger. I'm sorry, you guys, I have my light. You know what? How about I just let my light fall? Never mind. As They would be willing to let you do this if you ask them for a favor. So you didn't even have to offer them anything, just like the scammers come. You could be like, excuse me, may I cut in line because I need a favor? Not because you need something when you give them a reason, but you just say, excuse me, can I ask a huge favor of you? May I get in line in front of you? And a lot of times people be like, yeah. And it worked better than giving them an excuse, telling them why you need to get in line. It was just the fact that you positioned them in a status higher than you, meaning that you make it seem like when they give you the favor, you're now subjugated to them. And therefore, people inherently like to feel ahead of somebody, or those kind of things. And so all of that stuff is at work and we don't even realize it. The scammers do. And here's another one that, oh, now this one right here, I have to breathe through. uh is something that I used to think nobody will go for that. But have you ever got, and this is not a scam, but it is like the moral way of doing it. Have you ever gotten those little envelopes in the mail? They call them direct mail, lumpy mail. That's what they call it. It's called lumpy mail. And what it'll have in it is either a pen or some like little cookie molds. I got one right over there. And then they'll slide something in it to save the children. And that one is the one that used to get me. I'll talk a little bit about that one. I talked about that one in the podcast. But you got to really check and see who is sending you that quote unquote save the children crap, because you might be thinking you're giving to a legitimate company and you are not. You are giving it to scammers. So yes, beware. But what it is what they do is they offer or give you something in hopes that you are going to give them something, because like, I already mailed it, you already have possession of it, so just fill out this card, you know. And that is not the scam part. The scam part is if you fill out the card and you don't check who it is that mailed you that, and you don't verify that they are a real company. Okay, so that's happening. So be aware of that in your mail during this holiday season as well, because they love to exploit the little babies. They love to exploit the kids. But this is another one where they offer you something too good to be true. I mean, you know how much stuff should cost. And the biggest scams happen for people who think they're getting over on the person making the offer. Have you ever had that person or seen this where this guy comes up and he's like, I'm on my hard luck and I've got this, I got this big TV, 80-inch TV that I need to go on and sell because I'm trying to move me and my girl or me and my family, and I need to just go on. And you're like, huh? And so he's like, well, come on over here. And he has the back door of his car open, and there's this big box with an 80-inch in it, and it is taped up for the guards. I mean, the tape on it is thick. And you're like, well, let me see inside. You're like, well, I don't have any box cutters on me. And you see, I got this tape. And if you don't take it, I'm going to have to go get the tape again. And they're always trying to talk you out of this. And you lift the box and it seems comparable, only to get it home and understand that you have just gotten 80-inch $1,000 TV. You paid this man $250 so he can hurry up get out of town. And you got some bricks. It happens all the time. Here in Atlanta at one time, they were actually having to tell people, do not meet someone in the back of Best Buy at night. for inventory. First of all, it's a theft. But second of all, they don't have nothing to do with that. Because what are you going to do when you get taken? You're going to call somebody and say, I was trying to create, participate in illegal activities and I got. No, you can't. And so it had gotten so bad that the news had to put out, people, you can't get something for nothing. Don't do this. Just don't do it. So there was that. And it just got me to thinking that, a lot of the times when we think of scams, they look very obvious, but we want to get underneath that, because now it's like I said, it's not about how savvy and slick someone is. It's about us. It's about human nature. And if we understand the wisdom behind our irrationality of what we do, then we'll be able to better guard against these predators, because that's what they do. You are the prey if you don't watch it. So one of the things, like I said before, is watch your ego. The next one is to make sure that you're not trying to scam them. There is really not something, there's no real such thing as something for nothing. And when you try to get over, you get run over. And so be careful of trying to get something for nothing, because the scammers are looking for that, and they know what it looks like. They know, if they're a person, the gleam in your eye. They also know, like I said, how to word this and how to make it seem like it makes all the sense in the world. I have this thing, I'm on hard times. Take advantage of me because of my hard times. And that's what's really being said. They're positioning it where you get to scam them. And they're saying, I'm on hard times. I've got to get out of here, and I'm willing to take this cut. You're hurting me. You're getting over on me. And so when you get that big 80-inch box and it's a box of rocks, you get what you get. And it just is. And so we've covered that. Make sure you take care of your ego. Make sure you don't try to think that you're going to get something for nothing. And then the next thing is this. When they try to place you as the expert, sometimes they try to play the dunce or the ringer, and they're trying to make it seem like, well, doc, you know more than I do. And they are trying to appeal to us that they are the weaker one and that you're the stronger one. Always pay attention to the positioning when you're negotiating with someone or when someone is approaching you, because whenever someone quickly gives you the perceived dominance in an interaction, be wary. Be wary. You know how they always say it's some quiet you got to watch? Well, it's those ones that come and say, poor me, I'm meek and mild, just so innocent, I'm so weak. They are the true wolves in sheep's clothing. So there's that one. I kind of I talked a little bit more about this one than I'm going to talk about in the podcast, in that it's where they are appealing to our natural tendency that bypasses our logic and puts us squarely in our primitive mind. And that is where they appeal to your sense of wanting to avoid pain and or obtain pleasure. And what that means is, a lot of times what they'll do is, if you think about some of the classic scams that always seem to work, it's always someone, and they'll use like a few of these things where they'll say, they'll appeal to your ego, and they'll tell you, you seem like you're a really nice person, and I'm just really trying to help. That's one, appeal to ego. Two, now let's make it seem like we're going to either do you a favor or ask for a favor. So the next thing they'll say is, I've got this situation happening and I don't know what to do. Now they're also positioning themselves underneath you so that you look like you're the expert, the smart one, or the person who holds all the cards. And so they'll say something like, I'm stranded and all I have is this cashier's check from my grandmother or my relative, but I don't have any kind of ID on me. So if you could help me, I'll sign this over to you and you can put it in your bank. And because you're helping me, I won't even take the face value. I'll pay you something out of it. So it's written for $1,000, but um, I'll take whatever you can give me, from ATM. And a lot of people be like, I can make $1,000 and I have a daily limit of like 400 or 500 that I can take out. Your greed, your ego, your sense of getting over on someone, getting something for nothing takes over if you haven't done the work and been on the lookout. And you be like, sure, that's a no-brainer. And you put it in to your ATM, and your ATM shows now that you have, an updated amount. You withdraw $400 or $500 and you give it to them and you're happy, only to find out a few days later that it was a bogus um, cashier's check, and now you are negative because they have withdrawn that. Plus, you are down $400, or I'm not saying you're negative, but you get what I'm saying, and it can cause a whole world of trouble. And what are you going to do? Because your ego, that need to be the hero, to win, to be the expert, is activated, and they have gotten you. All right, and so that's another one. Now this one, and after this one, I gotta go because I gotta get on. I have another appointment, but I wanted to say this because this is the one that used to get me all the time. And what I call it is I call it the poverty and hunger porn. You know, the ones where they show them starving little babies over in another country with the little bellies out and the flies all around their eyes, and they looking at you with the big eyes and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, I will take care of them for $5 a day for their village. And only because you're not paying attention to the fact that you went to a site and it sounded like the site that's the legitimate one, but it might have one letter off, or one little twist of the words, and you have put all your information in there. And now they have just gotten all your information because you gave it to them, and they've taken money off of your card, or however you plan to pay. And then it takes you forever to file. Look at me, let me own this. Takes me forever to file that this was fraud, and just a whole bunch of mess. And so, like I said, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is, I'm hoping, something that you'll be aware of going into this season. Of course, there are going to be regular just thievery and stuff out there. So protect yourself with the information that you put in. Make sure you check and update all of the securities on your computers and stuff, especially if you're buying stuff online. That's the regular stuff. But this kind of stuff, this is the stuff where we can't tell you all of the new tricks they're going to have, but we can tell you the foundational things that you need to know about you so that you can lessen the possibility of getting taken for a scam. Sometimes we need to be reminded that there really isn't anything in life for free, that our egos need to be stroked, and if we're not doing it, somebody else who means us no harm will be happy to do it and extract our valuables in the process. Also, if someone is trying to be your fast friend, they are very complimentary of you and wanting to do you a favor or ask you a favor, you need to give them the side eye and be like, what do you want? What's the angle? All right. And then another one is be careful of those people who appeal to you to become their hero, their savior, their victor, because they happen to have fallen on hard times, or they've got this money that they can't get to. Be aware of the obstacles that they're trying to say is between them and getting what they want, because what they are doing is they are appealing to your sense of either wanting them to avoid pain and obtain pleasure, or your sense of wanting to get in on obtaining pleasure by getting a payoff. So like I said, it might sound common sense, but we all need to be reminded, and we all need to sharpen our wisdom blades for dissecting down to what's going on, because it is hunting season for scammers right now, and I need y'all to be aware and be aware. And also check today's podcast where we talk a little bit more about this in detail. I go over the 5 laws of gold. I talk about a few others to help you be able to strengthen your resolve and your eyesight to see more scams. And the link will be in the description. And you guys, y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me. And I appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me every day. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And thank y'all so much. This is MichelleSpiva with a Wisdom Smack Chat. I'll see you later. Bye.